On April 4, 2023, Finland became the newest member of NATO after years of debate and consideration. So why did Finland make this decision? What were the benefits and risks of joining NATO? And how did the international community react to this news? I will try to answer these questions and give you some background information on Finland's security policy and its relations with NATO and Russia. Speaking ahead of the ceremony, the Secretary General thanked President Niinisto for his outstanding leadership and for leading Finland into the most successful alliance in history. I am deeply proud to welcome Finland as a full-fledged member of our alliance, and I also look forward to welcoming Sweden as soon as possible. He said, "Joining NATO is good for Finland, it is good for Nordic security, and it is good for NATO as a whole." He added, the Secretary General also noted that Finland's accession shows the world that President Putin failed to slam NATO's door shut. Instead of less NATO, he has achieved the opposite. More NATO and our door remains firmly open, he said. As you may know, Finland is a Nordic country that shares a long border with Russia. For most of its history, Finland has been neutral and non-aligned, meaning that it did not join any military alliances or take sides in international conflicts. However, in 2022, Finland shocked the world by announcing that it would apply for NATO membership, a move that was strongly opposed by Russia and some of its own citizens. First of all, let's talk about what NATO is and what it means to be a member. NATO stands for North Atlantic Treaty Organization, and it is a military alliance of 31 countries in Europe and North America. The main purpose of NATO is to provide collective defense and security for its members, meaning that if one member is attacked, all the others will come to its aid. NATO also conducts joint military exercises, operations and missions around the world to promote peace and stability. To join NATO, a country has to meet certain criteria, such as having a democratic system of government, respecting human rights and the rule of law, and spending at least 2% of its GDP on defense. A country also has to receive an invitation from the existing members, which requires consensus among them. Once a country is invited, it has to sign the North Atlantic Treaty and ratify it in its parliament. Then it becomes a full member with equal rights and obligations. Finland has been a partner of NATO since 1994, when it joined the Partnership for Peace program, which allows non-member countries to cooperate with NATO on various issues such as crisis management, counterterrorism, and cyber defense. Finland has also participated in several NATO-led missions in places like Afghanistan, Kosovo, and Iraq. However, Finland has always maintained that it does not seek NATO membership and that it values its neutrality and independence. So, what changed in 2022? Well, there are several factors that influenced Finland's decision to join NATO. One of them is the changing security environment in Europe and especially in the Baltic region. Since 2014, when Russia annexed Crimea and supported separatists in eastern Ukraine, Finland has felt more threatened by its powerful neighbor. Russia has also increased its military presence and activities near Finland's borders and airspace, conducting frequent exercises and maneuvers that sometimes violate Finnish sovereignty. Finland has responded by strengthening its own defense capabilities and readiness, as well as deepening its cooperation with other Nordic countries, the European Union, and NATO. Another factor is the growing public support for NATO membership in Finland. According to opinion polls, more than half of Finns now favor joining NATO, compared to less than 30% a decade ago. This shift in public opinion is partly due to the perceived threat from Russia, but also to the positive image of NATO as a reliable and effective alliance that can provide security guarantees for Finland. Moreover, some Finns argue that joining NATO would not compromise their sovereignty or identity, but rather enhance their influence and voice in international affairs. A third factor is the political will of the Finnish government and president. In 2021, Finland held parliamentary elections that resulted in a coalition government led by the Social Democratic Party, SDP, which had previously been opposed to NATO membership. However, the SDP changed its stance after the elections and declared that it would support applying for NATO membership if there was a clear majority in favor of it among the public and the parliament. The president of Finland, Sauli Niinisto, who has the final say on foreign and security policy matters, also expressed his support for joining NATO after consulting with his advisors and experts. Therefore, in 2022, Finland officially announced that it would apply for NATO membership at the next summit of the alliance. This announcement was welcomed by most NATO members, especially by the United States, which had long encouraged Finland to join. However, some members expressed reservations or concerns about Finland's decision, such as France, Germany, and Turkey. They argued that inviting Finland to join NATO would provoke Russia and escalate tensions in Europe. They also questioned whether Finland was ready to meet all the obligations of being a member. The most negative reaction came from Russia itself. Russia strongly condemned Finland's decision as a hostile act that threatened its security interest and violated previous agreements between them. Russia warned that it would take countermeasures if Finland joined NATO, such as deploying more troops and weapons near its border or cutting off diplomatic ties with Finland. This raised concerns about a new potential crisis in the Baltic region and a possible military confrontation between NATO and Russia. So, what does Finland's decision to join NATO mean for the world? Well, there are different opinions on this matter, depending on one's perspective and interests. Supporters of Finland's NATO membership argue that it will enhance the collective defense and security of the alliance, as well as the deterrence against potential aggressors. They also say it will strengthen the transatlantic link and cooperation between Europe and the United States, which has been under strain in recent years. Moreover, they point out that Finland's membership will send a message of unity and solidarity among democratic countries against authoritarian and revisionist powers. Opponents of Finland's NATO membership, on the other hand, claim that it will undermine the stability and security of the region, as well as the trust and cooperation between Russia and the West. They argue that it will provoke Russia and give it a pretext for military intervention or retaliation, especially if NATO deploys more troops and weapons near its border. They also question whether NATO can actually provide security guarantees for Finland, given the limitations and challenges of the alliance's defense posture and strategy. In any case, the decision of Finland to join NATO is a significant development in the security landscape of Europe and the world. It reflects the growing concerns and challenges that countries face in the face of hybrid threats, cyber attacks, disinformation campaigns, and territorial disputes. It also highlights the importance of collective action and multilateralism in addressing these challenges and upholding the rules-based international order. As for the future of Finland's relations with Russia, it remains to be seen how they will evolve in the context of NATO membership. Some experts predict that Russia will intensify its pressure and coercion tactics against Finland, such as economic sanctions, energy cutoffs, or propaganda campaigns. Others believe that Russia will seek to engage Finland in a dialogue and cooperation on certain issues, such as border security, environmental protection, or Arctic affairs. Whatever the case, Finland will have to balance its commitments and interests between NATO and Russia while preserving its sovereignty and identity as a Nordic country.